today. So if we see, we are having like AWS cloud. So it's cloud like very big infrastructure is already there. That is infrastructure developed by the AWS, some backbone network. So in the AWS, what we are getting one default VPC per account. We can say like we are having one account, or I have created one account on AWS. So I will get one default VPC. In the default VPC, like number of things will get created, like internet gateway, and that routing tables will be there, and some subnets will be there based on region actually. So like in my case, my region is India or Bombay. So for that Bombay region, they are having 3 subnets. So, and they have created like one region, AP South 1. So that is like coding for that. So I will get everything with the default thing. So directly I will able to launch my EC2 instance. But I don't want that part. I want to create my own infrastructure. So what I will do, I will create my VPC. So this is like AI project, same thing yesterday we did. So we will have one our own VPC. In that VPC, obviously we will have availability zones, because availability zones are part of region. So if we are having regions, so 3 availability zones are available, like in Mumbai region. So in those 3 availability zones, I can use maybe 2 or all 3 I can use. That is depend on me or my infrastructure or my business requirement, whether I want my applications to be highly available application. If I want my applications to be highly available, in that it means we need to launch or we need to use more than one availability zones. Then only my application will be highly available. So for example, we use 2 availability zones, AZ1 or AZ2 here. In those availability zones, we want to create our subnets now. We want to have 4 subnets. Like in AZ1, we will create 2 subnets, public subnet and the private subnet. In the AZ2 also, we will create 2 subnet, public subnet and the private subnet, like that. Suppose I'm having some instance like my one web server. In the web server, some web content is there. And that web content means some HTML content is there, and that content should be public. Obviously, if it is not public, how people will access it over the internet? Correct. So that content should be public, and of that content I will place in the EC2 machine or web server basically. So I will launch that machine here in the public subnet. Any public subnet I can launch. But now that EC2 means, for example, like user is entering some login details, username and password from the URL. So that request will go to the web server. Suppose my web server is here in the public subnet. So that request will come here. Just for example, we are considering username and password I got here in this particular subnet. Now that username and password I need to verify, means my some coding will be there that will verify basically. Correct. That username or password will not store here actually. It will store here maybe in some database or some other kind of storage it will be there. So in this example, we are considering suppose some database is there in the background. So the database, it's not like I will launch database here also in public subnet. If I'm launching that public subnet, means database in the public subnet, so it's like public information is there. So anyone over the internet might get might able to access my database as well here. Instead of that, what I will do, I will place my database inside some private subnet. Private subnet means there will be no public IP. In the public subnet, if I'm putting something, there will be a public IP related to the content. But in the private subnet, there will be no public IP. Only we can say private IP will be there. Resource private IP. That's it. And that IP will work only within the AWS boundary. So outside people will not able to access it. Now I want to verify my username and password. For example, I have launched some database here. So what will happen, this EC2 instance, this public subnet will able to communicate with the private subnet, because these are internal within my infrastructure, AWS infrastructure within my VPC. So that internal communication will happen, because EC2 also will have private IP and database also will have private IP. So these two will able to communicate internally. Internally, they will communicate, and my EC2 will verify password is correct or not, and then EC2 will communicate over the internet. Now we are seeing here, we are creating one EC2 instance in over VPC boundary. But the point is this EC2 instance, no one will able to access, because we require a lot of other things. Like we require first thing, if we want to access this instance from the internet, we require internet gateway. It's like a router. If you want to connect to some internet from your laptop, that internet provider will put some modem or something, right? So it is like connections through that particular device you will able to connect to the internet service provider. Then internet service provider will redirect your request to further the DNS, whatever the domain name system is there. So the device is basically, we can say here, we require internet gateway, and internet gateway will be at VPC level always. Remember this, and one internet gateway will attach with one VPC. So once we are having internet gateway, then that internet gateway will communicate with the subnets, but it will not directly able to communicate. We have to define some kind of routings. With the routings only it will able to communicate. Routings is we can say just mapping, basically IPs mapping. Okay, from this internet gateway IP, I will match with this particular this subnet. So it is like mapping. So this is like our complete infrastructure. If we see, we should have like this something. I'm having only default VPC. So we will quickly create a new one. See carefully. First, we will create VPC. I can say SAM VPC. So this is SAM VPC. IP range we need to define for the VPC. We can define the similar range, whatever suggestion is coming. We can give 16 cider block. So 16 means around 65,000 some IPs we will get here. Whatever default things are coming, we are good with that. We will go. I'll just copy this name because we will use everywhere. So we will simply say create VPC. So remember this infrastructure, we are flowing one by one this infrastructure. So at first we will create our own VPC. We can create internet also first, because internet and VPC connection only need to make. And then we can create our subnets. For subnets we can create, and then one EC2 instance, routing table, step by step we will do. And then through routing table, we will map everything. That's it. Process is not so difficult. Once you will create, we will able to do it. So VPC is ready. Now we want internet gateway. So only default is there. We'll say create new internet gateway. I can say SAM VPC internet gateway. Nothing, just naming convention we need to give, and tags automatically will come, and we will simply say create it. So internet gateway got created. This is my internet gateway ID. This is detached state. I should attach this internet gateway with one VPC. I will simply say attach. It means under actions, I will say attach to VPC. Which VPC? Whatever I have created. That is like SAM VPC. So this one, we will attach it. So one part is done. Now we will create the subnets. So by default, 3 subnets are there. I want to create my own subnets. I will simply say create subnet. Which VPC? In which VPC we want to create the subnets? I will say I want to create SAM VPC. We will scroll down. So subnet. So I will create first subnet, SAM VPC public subnet 1. I can say. Now it is saying in which availability zone we want to create the subnet. If we see the diagram, we are having this red color, right? So this is like availability zone. A, Z, A, B, C, total 3 are available in my region. So I can select out of only these 3. So I will say I want to launch this A. We can see A and B. We will use only 2 out of 3. And range we can give here. So I will say 10.0.1.0. So you guys also try with the same IP range, because this is like one valid range I am giving. Otherwise, we have to make new range and give properly. And we can give like 24, around, I think 256 IPs we will get with that. So this part is done. I'll copy this because I want to create two private, two public subnet. So this is done. I will create one more. Scroll down. So this will be private subnet 1 we will give in the same availability zone A. First we are creating, and IP range, be careful, 10.0 I can give some different IP here, 24. So this part is done. Now I want to create one more subnet. This will be public 2. This time we will select availability zone, not A, we will select B, different one. IP also we need to give the different one now. Previously we give 10.0.1. This time we can give 2. So one more we need to create now. And we will say here private 2. We are launching in the B. And then we can give the IP range also. So 10.0. We gave 11. Now this time we will give 12.0/24. So any doubt in this? We are creating subnets here. So this is my first subnet. I am having some IP range. I am saying I want to create subnet, public subnet 1, because we are creating 2 public, 2 private. So in the A availability zone, I'm creating 2 subnet. One is public subnet 1. Second is private subnet 1. IP is this one for the public one, and for the private one, this one. So same thing for the public one. Now this is 2 in the A1B. This is another availability zone. So basically 4 availability zones we are creating here. And I simply say create subnet. So 4 subnets are getting created, and we can see here also. So these 4 subnets got created, 2 public, 2 private. And we can see VPC is this one now. That's it. We have done most of the things. And now we want to define the routes for that. So for the routing table, if we see this is like default routing table, we don't want to touch this. We want to create our own routing table. I can say SAM VPC public route table. In which VPC? I want to use at SAM VPC level. That's it. Create it. And now the most important thing we need to do, 2 things. We need to define routes and the subnet association. These 2 things we need to do. First, let's define the subnet association. Means we are attaching public subnets and that routing table mapping we are creating for the subnet. We want to say we want to map these public subnets, only public. We will not select private here, because from internet gateway, I will connect to the public subnet only. That connection I want to make. Private is no one should able to touch, because it is like more security I'm adding there. I will simply say save. Second part, I want to add route. So this is by default route is coming from my local. Local means within the VPC range. Here I want to add, I want to enable this communication. Any destination means coming from traffic coming from 0.0. That traffic should first communicate with my internet gateway, and internet gateway is attaching with one VPC. VPC attaching with my public subnets. Subnets will have EC2 instance with the security group. So this is like attachments. It's making sense, right? So SAM VPC we give and save changes. That's it. We have created our infrastructure. Nothing much. Step by step, one VPC we created, one internet gateway, we did one attachment. After that, 4 subnets we created. In the route table, we did 2-step process. One is subnet associations. Second one is routing entry. That's it. 5-step process total we did here. Now we will create one security group also. It's not mandatory to create security group now. During the creation of our EC2 instance, we can always create new security group, but better to create here only because in the same console we will able to manage. So I will say my security group name here, SAM VPC SCCU or IT security group. Description we can copy the same thing. Nothing much actually. This is important part. By default, this ID is like this, and no means you will not able to have drop down here. You have to cancel it, then it will show like this. So we need to select SAM VPC because it is showing default VPC ID. So ensure this, whatever new VPC you are creating, that ID we are giving here for the security group. So we want to add some rules. So whatever we are going to place based on that. So as of now, we normal want to do SSH from the browser only. So we'll enable it and we will make it anywhere. Means every IP we will able to access. So SSH connection to EC2, or we can add if web content something we want to place, we want to give the HTTP also. So we can see HTTP anywhere for accessing web server. We can say server or anything, just description here. But in the actual environment, better to give proper description. And then we can simply say create security group as well. Then we are good to go now. Environment is ready, basically. New VPC and everything is ready. We can simply go to EC2 console. So here some instances are already running. Let it run. We will launch our new one. So in the new instance, we can select any image. Mainly, we will go with the free tier one only. So I'm selecting the first one by default, whatever is coming. Instance type, we will use the t2.micro normal one. We will simply say next. This is important part now. Here we need to define network. Network is showing by default a default VPC. I don't want to use this now. I want to use my own VPC, that is SAM VPC. Now subnet level, if you see, I have created 4 subnets. Basically, it is saying in which subnet you want to install or launch the instance. Now tell me one thing. If I will select like this private subnet 1, what will happen? Whether it will work or it will not work.
Then only you can access it, right?
Correct. Within the network limits, I can access it, but I want my things to come from internet. Correct. That kind of mapping I have done. So I will say I want to launch my instance in public. I can select any public subnet. It's not like 1 or 2. Anything we can select. We can see 251 IPs are available. Exact range will be 256. So 5 IPs are reserved. So 251 is available here. Auto assign public IP. So this I was saying, actually sometimes we require to launch one database. So database, it's not like directly database you will install. Maybe first you will have one EC2 machine. In that EC2 machine you will put your database basically. In that case, if you're creating that kind of environment, we will select this as private, but we will auto assign public IP. We will disable it in that case, because we don't want any public IP for database. Only within the boundary it should able to access. Internal access we need to provide. But if it is some public IP we want to have, then in that case we will launch that instance in the public subnet, and then we can say yes, enable one public IP also, assign one public IP also. It's purely infrastructure based decision actually. And then whatever like default configurations are there, we will go with that. And that anything you want to place here, no, not required. We can simply go, we are good here. And we can say storage. We don't want to do any storage changes here. But one important point I think we didn't cover. If you see, this one option is there, delete on termination. Any idea about this by reading this message?
When you close the instance, it will automatically be deleted.
Correct. So whatever the storage is getting created with my instance, if I will terminate my instance, that storage will go away. But sometimes we require, like for example, I'm running one EC2 instance, that is instance type is t2.micro, and some storage is attached, this same storage, whatever it is showing, or I have created maybe some storage, and in that storage is basically some data is there. Now workload is increasing and I want to change my instance type from t2.micro to t2.large. So if one way is there, if I will terminate and that data itself is got deleted, that will not make sense to me. So what I will do, I will use this option, and if it's in delete on termination, I will say no, don't delete my storage, just remove the instance. So what I will do, it's a detachment process. Now that storage will be detached from my Linux t2.micro instance. So once I will terminate instance, storage will be still available. Now what I will do, I will launch the new instance t2.large. I will attach that new storage to that large instance. So automatically I will get my data. So this is also one way of doing the things. So we can create the storage. We have to delete, in this case, manually that storage. But if I select this option, it will automatically delete it. So this is the one part. And there is one aspect of certification also. They used to ask a lot of questions nearby the encryption part. If you see whatever we are putting, there are some encryption thing. So once we will do more things on the security, so it will make more sense. But there is one process like KMS, that is key management service from the AWS. That is like whatever data we are putting in the storage, that should be encrypted at rest or encrypted in transit. Means when the data transfer is happening from storage to my instance and or instance to storage, the data should be in encrypted format. So that is also one very important option. So just I saw these two options, so explained. So we are good, I think. Here we will not do anything further. We will simply, we can give some name, and we can say SAM EC2 web server, or simply SAM EC2 will give. And security group, if you see, it is trying to create the new one. I don't want this because already we created. We will say existing one. If we select this, automatically it will show all the security groups available. I can say I want this SAM one. So already 2 ports are available here, so we are good here. And then I will say everything looks good, and scroll down, launch it. Any keys required? No, we really don't want to connect whatever default is coming, or we can select, in this case, proceed without a key pair also. Any option is okay, because purpose is to just launch the instance and connect it once. That's it. So our instance is now getting launched. Click on this instance ID. We'll see here. SAM is there. We can see it is pending state. We'll wait for some time. Meanwhile, we will see the configuration. So we can see public IP came, private IP. If you see the private IP range, that is 10.0.1.181. So within that range, it got created. VPC wise, my VPC, SAM VPC. Subnet wise, SAM VPC, public subnet 1. Instance type t2.micro. If we go to the security groups, we see here it is SAM VPC security group. Whatever I have created, it is using the same thing. So we can say it's a fully customized environment we are using, or custom environment. Basically everything we created from scratch, that complete infrastructure within my account. So that's the public IP. Yeah, this is the public IP. So anyhow, we haven't places any user data there, so we can simply connect it and try. So I will select this SAM. I will say connect here. So EC2 connect is okay. Browser level connection is more than enough for us. So we are able to connect. So this is the way how we launched one VPC or one EC2 instance in custom VPC basically. Any doubt in this?
No.
So this is okay. This part looks like we created one VPC and security group, but a lot of manual things are there. Now suppose again I want to create one more similar kind of instance, but this time my requirement is to create t2.large. As I mentioned before, also I want to create t2.large. So what I need to do now, I have to follow this complete process, right? So in this case, it is time consuming now. That modification is time consuming. So that's why like we understood we can use CloudFormation, or we can go with DevOps practices, that is like IAC, infrastructure as code. That will save lot of time, efficiency will improve, production will improve. Lot of benefits are there with that. So this is still our example is very small example. But if at large level, this things creation of this part, now suppose my requirement is coming, means I need to create one S3 bucket also. I will go to S3 bucket and I will create it. That is also some manual thing I will give, obviously. Then one more requirement is coming, I should create some roles. Then one more requirement is there, I need to create some pipeline kind of thing. So I need to switch a lot of things, right? I need to go to that management console and create the stuff. Then again, I will go to IAM and create it. Again, I will go to S3 and create it. Instead of doing this whole thing, and suppose some problem happened, or I want to again do the same thing for 5 times. So I have to switch lot of things here, and I need to go to S3 5 times, S3 or IAM 5 times. I need to move here and there a lot. So it will take a lot of time, because at this level it is very simple instance. Still we are okay, we just created in the hardly 10 minutes it took to create one complete infrastructure, means for launching EC2 instance in the custom VPC. But in the actual environment it will take huge amount of time it will take. So if we want to save time here, so we can go with the CloudFormation. So now what we want to do, we want to create our same infrastructure with the CloudFormation. So whatever we have created this infrastructure, now we want to have this infrastructure with the help of AWS CloudFormation template. So now what is that template? Let me open it. It's already placed everything. So this is my template actually. See, so first category here I'm putting like description. Under description we can define, okay, what this template is doing. It's like basically telling to someone, if you guys are reading, by this template deploys a VPC, okay, in either AP South and Southeast. This is Singapore region. So basically out of these two regions only VPC get created. So this is like I'm creating two region specific thing with pair of public and private subnets. Okay, it means we are going to create private or public subnet. See, exact same infrastructure, same VPC we created, na? Exact same thing we will do. It deploys internet gateway, means we want to create internet gateway also. Default route table or public subnets, means some routing tables are there. T2.micro we want to create, and we want to create the security groups also. If you see the one we created one VPC. Second, we created internet gateway. Third, we created subnets. Fourth, we created routing table. Fifth, we created security group. Sixth, we created EC2 instance. Total 6-step process we did there. Just remember this part. So this is like description. Now mapping. Mapping, as I mentioned, it's like one syntax reason map we will create. This is just a map name. You can give it any name, Himanshu map, Sam map, AI map, any map we can give. It's just a name. But this is should be correct. This is the reason name actually. Now exact reason name, AP South 1. I'm telling map AP South 1 with this particular image, because in the AP South 1 region so many images will be there, correct? Which image I want to use, so I have to tell that part. So I'm saying use this particular image, and this is the image ID. How we will get this image ID? Same way, the way we launch the instance, there only image ID also will be available. And AP South is, this is my second reason, means if user is from only these two reasons, he should able to continue with this template. So for you guys, you have to give whatever reason is there in your account, you have to modify this code. This same code will not work for you guys, because that reason is not there, right? Or you, one way is there, you have to switch to these two reasons and then create the thing. Instead of that, better option is just give you a reason thing. How you will give? Simply come here and just see, like Bombay is there, right? AP South 1, and AP South is Singapore. So if you are in US based region somewhere east or west, just use US East 1, East 2, West 1, West 2. Based on your reasons, you can give that value. Two value, any two reason you can choose. So this is the one thing like mapping we define. Any doubt?
So can you show where you got the AMI code from?
This is AMI ID.
Yes.
Okay. So like we launch the instance, right? If you see here, I want only free tier 1. So these are nothing but AMI IDs actually, these all. So I use this one as of now, CA this one, but a lot of IDs are available. Whatever means instance type we want, we can use that one here. So I have given this one. So this is the same ID I have given. But remember one thing, this ID belongs to this Bombay region. If you see for Southeast region, that ID is different. So we cannot give same ID. ID will be different actually. The template format will be different. So if I'm switching to Southeast region here, if you see, so ID is different, we can see here.
That's
So
exactly
we need to,
why I asked, sir, because the ID was different, so I got a little confused.
yes. So it's a region specific templates, right? So it will be different only. So we need to select proper ID. That's why we are using actually mapping. That's the whole purpose of using mapping between region and AMI. Now the point is, whatever like we are creating like VPC subnet, these are nothing but all are resources, right? So this is the main part we can say. So first thing we created VPC. VPC is over one resource, we can say. This is just name. So we can say type. Type is the very important configuration we can see, because type is the thing that AMI will this CloudFormation template will understand. So we are saying I want to create one EC2 AWS EC2 VPC I want to create. This is my CIDR block properties I'm defining. Enable DNS support. This by default we will put true text. Here I'm giving just name. Same thing we did in the management console also. We gave one CIDR block, we gave one name, and then we created it. So same thing exactly we are doing here. So VPC will create internet gateway. I will create one internet gateway. This type is very important. Then property, name and value. So AI project internet gateway, we can say. Internet gateway attachment. So this name better, we will give some modification. We can give. This is better internet, because otherwise this VPC and internet gateway was same. Okay, that is okay. Then attachment, we did the third step. Attachment we did right there. So how we will attach here? We will say type. This is the attachment. We can give like this. Properties. This is the very important part. Internet gateway ID and VPC ID. So these two IDs we need to give. That is basically attachment. In the UI, it's easy, just click on attach. But here we need to use one parameter called, or one configuration called REF. That is called reference. This reference we need to give like this, and then internet gateway. What is this internet gateway? It will automatically able to understand and take this internet gateway. This value, line number 22. And VPC, it will automatically take this VPC ID, this one, because this parameter will be only one time. So if you see, this value is this one, VPC. It will able to read that value. So it's like internal references are happening in this file. So these are resources, like how one resource is, if like this attachment we are making, we are giving two references here. So this thing we need to remember only carefully little bit. Anyhow, this file is available in the slide project section, so we can access it there also. Then we need to create subnets. So I'm saying I want to create public subnet 1 first. And what we want to do, type is like subnet. In which VPC we want to create subnet. So VPC ID we need to give that same thing, like same way, reference in this VPC, availability zones, select. So this is one kind of syntax we are having here. Actually, in that particular VPC, we are having 3 subnets, right? Or 3 availability zones, we will say. So this is one function, sir. Automatically CloudFormation will able to understand this function, get AZs. This function is defined in the AWS. So once CloudFormation will see this, CloudFormation will fetch that particular list of availability zones. So on that availability zones, we are selecting like first one. This is like whatever the A is there, right? Availability zone A. We are selecting something like this, A or B like this. So this is like some syntax is involved here. Now CIDR block we need to define the same way we are doing here. And we need to see map. This is like one configuration. This is like mandatory configuration or optional configuration. How we'll come to know? We need to see the documentation for that. Text, we can simply give the name. That's it. Now subnet 2, same way exact. VPC ID we need to give public subnet. CIDR block only change here and everything looks same here. And then private subnet we need to create exact same in configuration. VPC ID we need to give, only this blocking IP needs to change. Everything looks change or same. We can give name like private subnet here. One more private. So total 4 subnets we are creating. Now the important part is coming, routing. So routing also we defined with the help of file only. So what we are doing, EC2 route table. Okay, which VPC? Same way, reference to that VPC ID, and we are giving name here. Now we in the route table we need to do actual attachment, right? There also in the management console, first we created the route table, then we did the subnet associations and the route arrangement. So same thing we need to do. First we are having like default public route. Inside this I did attachment of internet gateway, from where, if you remember, we did target and the source there, right? Destination. So this is the 0.0. This is the actually coming, I mean, traffic coming from internet to the internet gateway. This is the that table actually, that in reference is there. So we will define like this. See, it looks like bit complicated, like first time we are seeing, but once you will read 4 or 5 files, right? I'm not telling to create, even just read 4 or 5 times, you will able to understand means how this file is working. But if you see whatever we created 6 or 7 things, exact same thing we are doing here. It is like infrastructure as code. And then we need to make associations, as we mentioned. So public subnet, we want only public subnet associations, not the private one. With the association, if you see, with the route table, I want to associate my public subnet 1. We will give the ID. So this is the another thing. With the route table, I want to associate my public subnet number 2. This is another association. If you see, syntax is going exact same. This is name. You can give anything. Type is the important, as I mentioned, we need to define the exact type. Then the thing is properties always. Now we want to create security group also. This is my name, security group name. I can give any name, doesn't matter. Type is important. Then properties I can give some description, and then this is the security group ingress. This is the exact property name we need to use. How we will get this name? We will do some practice, we will come to know, or we can read from the documentation also. And if you see here, we need to define protocol, means which protocol, TCP level protocol, we can say 80 port I want to enable, and who can access. Basically we used to do there also, right? Everyone, 0.0. In which VPC we want to create this particular thing. VPC is my VPC, this VPC basically, correct? And security group also got created. Now we want to create our EC2 instance. So if you see, this is EC2 instance. This is my type of EC2 instance, basically EC2 instance properties. Now I am saying image ID. Which image ID? I say find in map. I have created one map, and that map name is region map. Go to that region map, take content like AWS regions and this particular AMI actually, like this. Means based on this region, if my region is AP South, take that AMI. If that is Singapore region, take that AMI. So here is the point, like you guys were asking, we are launching 1 or 2 instances. If you see based on reason, it is selecting. If it is Bombay, it will launch only 1 instance in the Bombay. If it is Singapore, it will launch only, means it is take 1 AMI from Singapore only. That's it. Then what should be the instance type? I said T2.micro, I want to launch only subnet. We need to define it. There also we did. Now subnet, we will give public subnet. Security group, we will give some reference, that ID, because already everything got created now. It's just a reference we need to give. Text, we can give name, AI project EC2, anything we can give. And this is the way to define the user data. User data is like some functions. This is called function basically. Like the same exact we need to give. And then this is the same way we used to give in user data also, exact same thing will come. Once everything get created, I want to have some kind of another parameter, that is output. Output means in the CloudFormation, we will able to see this part. So output means, let me scroll down. Yeah, output means it's like just showing the public IP, because this web content, whatever I'm putting, I will access it http colon / that public IP, right, that URL. So public IP is required. One way is there, whatever EC2 instance is getting created as part of this template, I can go there and get the public IP. Another way is there, I don't want to switch the console, means from CloudFormation console to EC2, I can simply put that thing in the output. In the output, I'm creating that public IP. Whatever instance is getting created, that public IP, it will display in the output. Now tell me any doubt. I know a lot of doubts will be there, but what is your main doubt in this file? It is full-fledged 141 line file is there, which will create infrastructure for us. And this, like the way means project will increase or other actual environment with there, so this line will be maybe 1000 lines will be there, 2000 line will be there. That is the actual infrastructure we can create. Everything IAM role we can create with these kind of files. We can create databases fully, username, password, everything A to Z we can do. We can create complete CI/CD pipeline also using these kind of files. So that's the very, very big power of IAC, I can say. Any doubt? If we are good here, we will go and we will use this template and we'll see how fast infrastructure is getting created. We will go to our console directly. So this time we don't want this. And one more thing, I have placed my template as usual in the S3 bucket instead of uploading manually. So we can do anything manually also, you guys can do this. So if you see here, this is my sample YAML is there. So all files are there. So this is my file. I'll take this. I'll just copy the URL. Now we'll move to the CloudFormation. What happened? It's a bit slow. Okay. So in the CloudFormation, I want to create some stack. This is something stack is going on. This is other stack. We want to create our new stack. We can say with new resources or with existing resources, means we want to import some stack file. We don't want this kind of thing. We can say simply new one. Template is ready. Yes, template is ready. I want to use it from the S3 bucket. I will give like this directly, nothing else. Simply say next. Stack name we can give AI project stack. So this is my AI project stack. So this is the place we know. So once we will add that allowed values things, right, everything will able to select here actually. And then we will say next. We can define some tag or permission. Nothing, it's simple EC2 instance launching. So we are good here. We don't want these advanced things here. We say simply review it. We will get one more option here, estimate cost, because this template is going to create number of resources. So based on that, we will able to see the estimate cost also. But as it is our free tier account, so cost will not be eligible in this case. So if you see, creating template in the CloudFormation is not means this thing is not associated with any cost. But as part of execution of this template, whatever resources will get created, that will be associated with cost, like EC2 instances, or even we are using some elastic IPs, so that will be associated with the cost. But as such, creating this template and creation of resources is free of cost, we can say. So nothing here, and we can simply say create stack. Now we will observe, and how fast it is, we will see. Refresh it simply. See, first VPC is getting created, resources creation initiated, internet gateway is getting created. Just observe this. Everything we will able to see in the event section. And resources is the section where actual resources will be there. Like if you want to see the internet gateway VPC, we will able to see here. Output is the section where we will show the IP. Once everything get created, my EC2 instance is ready. That public IP I will simply display here. We'll see that part later. First, we will observe this. Now, if you see security group, attachment happened. If you see here, routing table got created. Sorry. And security group is, I think, got created. If you can see, create complete. Public route table mapping is done. Everything we will able to see. We are not doing this thing. In the manually, we were doing this everything. But now we defined which, obviously, as I mentioned before also, initially creation of file will take time. But once file is getting created, we will get the actual power of IAC. So if you see, EC2 instance got created, AI project also got created, and it's 8:12. We started 8:12 or 8:13 now with 8:12 some seconds actually. So it took very less time. I think if you see, this is my stack name and it got completed. We can get that information here also. Yeah. Sorry. So stack got completed. We'll go to resources quickly. We can see a lot of things got created. Even this is EC2 instance. One way is there, I will go to EC2 instance and get the IP. I don't want that thing because I config the output. I see the IP here only like this. I simply copy this IP, Control C, open new tab, HTTP, and open IP and enter. We got the thing. I'm having fully functional one custom VPC, internet gateway, everything got created within seconds now. I hope it is making sense, right? How it is helping.
Yes.
Now, any resource we want to see, whatever got created as part of this, we can always go to this. Like all the icons are available. Like internet gateway, you want to check, you can simply go here and see internet gateway. Let it open. See AI project. So this internet gateway, internet gateway is attached with what? This VPC. If I click on my your VPC's thing, see AI project in with this got created with this particular range, whatever we define. Subnets you want to check. If you see, I just filter out AI project subnets. See, four subnets got created here. All are associated with that particular thing. Routing table we want to check. AI project routing table. And if you click on this subnet association, you want to check. Everything we did coding actually now. This is the public subnet. Exact same infrastructure came, right? The way we did. Routing table you want to check. Internet gateway is there. The one we created means template created, and this 000 is there. You want to check the security group. Security group. So name, yeah, this first one. So this got created. You want to check the rules inside this. Inbound you go. We attach only HTTP rule. SSH we didn't attach, if you remember. So we got this. And we want to check finally over EC2 instance, which got created as part of this complete exercise. Go to EC2 management console, AI project EC2. This is just now got created, right? And if you see, same thing. Here we are having, yeah. So we got this. This is my public IP here. And if we click on this instance EC2, we will scroll down here. Yeah, AI project VPC. subnet IDs AI project public subnet AZ1 T2.micro got created. And obviously that IP and everything we saw there. So this is the way, if you see the power of template actually. Now if we created so many things, now the point here is I want to update. I think already I demonstrated how we can update. If you want to update something in this file, like Veena was saying, we want to move to T2.large instance now. You no need to do anything. Simply change this type to T2.large and execute this template. Automatically CloudFormation will take care, because T2.large means at processing level, at processor level, things needs to be changed. So automatically CloudFormation will identify that part, and CloudFormation will terminate that whatever instance got created, and it will create the new one automatically. I no need to do manually go to terminate the instance, and again I need to follow that 7-step process for creating the instance. That is the power of
Right.
if I really don't require this infrastructure, I want to delete that so many things we got created, 6 or 7 things we got created. One way manual I will delete. One way, whatever resources got created as part of this stack, I simply say delete. Everything will get, my environment will be completely clean. If you see, delete in progress, everything, project, stack, EC2 instance, association, subnets, route table, everything is getting deleted automatically. CloudFormation will take care of that part. And very important part, that a sequence means first we should have VPC, then we should have internet gateway, then we should have subnets, then routing table. This complete sequence CloudFormation is able to understand before deleting or before creation. Based on that, it is doing. Maybe we will get confused, okay, how to do that part or how not to do that part, but CloudFormation will able to do everything that part. It's making sense, right? So we just refresh it, delete in progress. Now see, VPC is getting deleted. Already subnet got deleted, internet gateway got deleted, and now it is going to delete VPC. We'll see. Yeah, delete complete. If I'll say here, I come back here, my main, only one, this was the before also, but that actual stack got deleted. Now if I'll move to refresh it, we can say AI project instance got terminated. Automatically everything happened. Now if I want to go VPC, okay, VPC will be, I need to type. So if I will go here, my VPC. So if we see here, VPC is not there. SAM1 manually we created. Route tables, everything, means environment is purely created, means purely fresh one now. SAM1 only there, all things got deleted. It's like we are having that stage 0 now again.